So, my name is Jordan Killian. I'm the account executive. This is
Stephen Bezel.
Lisa Belsick.
Chris Jones.
and we're presenting our Giving Children Hope campaign.
Giving Children Hope was founded in 1993. President and CEO John Diddy is a new communications coordinator just recently hired. Her name is Carly Visible. Giving Children Hope has a mission. Their mission, they're a faith-based partner providing sustainable hope through wellness programs and disaster response in collaboration with local and global communities. They do this through the gathering of basic needs, nutritional foods, and medical resources. An overview of GCH works with communities both locally and around the world. They provide supplies, food to children in need, and a faith-based organization. Here are a couple pictures of families and children inside the actual warehouse. They have three main programs. We Got Your Back is a program that they have where they give needy families a backpack full of food each week. Giving for Living is where they give household supplies to families that really are needy of this. Medical supplies is self-explanatory. They just give medical supplies. Helps underprivileged families and creates a stable environment in order to develop under-resourced clinics, hospitals, and orphanages.
Our executive summary. Original plan consultation was Drew Bryson, the development coordinator, but at that moment there was no communication coordinator, which was hired approximately a month after. Giving Children Hope currently has a strong social media foundation. They utilize Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and other platforms. They do have a strong volunteer base, and our team's goal is to strengthen and deepen the social media footprint, increase the size of, and as well as increase the size of the volunteer pool. Situation analysis. We determined that the best way is to increase our social media outreach, increase opportunities to connect with new volunteers, gain awareness in our local areas, and plans to grow exponentially in the near future. Jordan?
All right, so I'm going to go over our SWOT analysis really quick. Some of their strengths, they were established in 1993. Gives them 20 years of experience. This is a long time of experience in their field, definitely gives them a leg up over some of the other local nonprofits in the area. They're very globally connected. One of the things that Drew Bryson mentioned when we met with him in our initial consultation was that they are able to respond to disasters around the world within a matter of days. Their average response time is about 72 hours. They do have a strong base of supporters, partners, and affiliates. Some of those are the Orange County United Way. It's a collaboration of 1,300 organizations that are promoting education, income, and health to needy families, as well as CDS Pharmacy and Second Harvest Food Bank, which is an organization looking to end world hunger hunger in Orange County. One of the other things that they boast is a high Charity Navigator rating. Charity Navigator is an online database that measures the overall contribution, expenses, revenue, and compensation that a nonprofit organization receives. Giving Children Hope received a 4-star rating and an overall score of 62.09 out of 70, which is actually very competitive in comparison to some of the other local nonprofits in the area. They have a very strong social media foundation, as Chris mentioned, presence across multiple social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, with postings multiple times a week. Some of their weaknesses, they have a very small staff, only about 16 people. It's a mostly volunteer-ran organization. This does lead to some problems as far as covering down on some of the tasks that they do try to accomplish and keep in line with their mission. And they have a high volunteer turnover rate. There is a veteran class of volunteers that do return over time to help out with different events, but they do pretty much cycle through a very solid amount of volunteers. They do also have a lack of social media synchronization. Their social media content feels unorganized, doesn't really have a guided sense of direction. It's very random. Content doesn't always sync across all their social media platforms either. You might find something on YouTube that has nothing to do with any of their postings on Facebook or on Twitter as well. Some of the opportunities that we tried to take advantage of this semester were the media exposure. Today's world, there's plenty of ways to get your name out there with the media. Before hiring a communications coordinator, the press releases came very few and far between. They were months apart. They had a press release in May, and then the next one would be in September. Since then, Carly Visible, their new coordinator, has done a pretty good job. She releases press releases almost weekly. There's also a lot of room for social media improvement as well. While they did have a strong base, social media campaign could be managed through useful tools and a guide. There was opportunities for volunteer organization collaboration. Companies, organizations, and agencies such as Pacific Life Insurance and First American Bank offer volunteer services to nonprofits. And local high school students also volunteer for community service outreach programs in order to meet graduation requirements. Some of their threats, other nonprofit organizations, many other nonprofits with just as noble causes exist. Salvation Army, American Red Cross. Goodwill is actually one of their partners, so I'm not going to list them even though they are a local nonprofit, as well as uncontrollable external factors, government agencies in war-torn refugee countries that might restrict their ability to give aid, as well as an economic downturn.
Your goals. Our overall goal is to increase brand awareness to build off existing supporters, partners, affiliates, and volunteer base. Develop an easily maintained social media plan with accompanying guide. Our objectives. We created a press kit. We created a user-friendly manual for successful social media postings. We as a group reach out to local high schools in regards to starting a Give and Children Hope volunteer club. We reach out to Pacific Life Insurance Company and First American Bank for volunteer collaboration.
Okay, so we created a press kit that was to assist the communications coordinator as well as their existing staff. We figured if we passed something like this on, it could only benefit them, even though it's a basic tool that most companies have or need. So our press kit included a unified letterhead format. This is just a clean way to display the address, phone number, ways to get back into contact with the company. We did a media alert template, which is actually very huge for them. They constantly have events, like their gala event took place while we were helping them out. They have the wrapping party, and by having a media alert to announce this to press, it'll get the word out for these events, and it'll make it more known what they're doing for others. We also did a news release and a newsletter template. The plan with the newsletter template was that we could have them get on a schedule of sending out a newsletter every month in order to tie together their staff better, keep them aware of how they're affecting the community, and also to keep in touch with the volunteers in order to try to create repeat volunteers, because they actually turn over a lot. So people will volunteer one time and then they won't come back, or they won't know the impact that they're having on giving children hope. So by sending out a newsletter, or by setting up a newsletter template, it makes it really easy for them to just fill that with information and keep the volunteers and staff aware of how they're impacting people. Other than that, we made a pitch letter. That's just in order, that's just in order to get the news out. I mean, these are very, they're very, they're just like basic tools that every company should have on site. So we wanted to make sure that we passed this on to the communications coordinator, because we didn't know what she had or what she hadn't had. So we figured it wouldn't hurt to give them these tools. Other than that, we made a okay, so these were examples of the templates that we made for them. And then we also did a social media guide. This was basically created because Facebook constantly updates and changes the way that they manage their fan pages. So I just wanted to have an up-to-date way, a step-by-step guide to make sure that they are fully using what Facebook has to offer. I know that you can make event pages that'll just quickly be able to invite multiple people, and then friends can invite friends to these events, and just overall raise awareness of what they're doing.
All right, some of the key publics that we wanted to target through our campaign. Obviously, we wanted to target organizations, companies, agencies that either had demonstrated a desire or previously volunteered with other nonprofit organizations. Pacific Life Insurance being one of the biggest ones of those. Annually, they participate in the AIDS Walk of Orange County, as well as the Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure. They also, one of their biggest things that we wanted to try to take advantage of was they host a program called the Pacific Life Good Guys program. It provides local nonprofit organizations with volunteers to assist in whatever way they possibly can. Last year alone, they assisted 45 different nonprofit organizations just in Orange County. First American Bank was another one that we looked at. It hosts a volunteer program called Operation Hope, which teaches financial literacy to local youth. And while financial literacy isn't exactly an objective that Giving Children Hope aligns itself with, the fact that they demonstrated a desire to participate in community outreach programs, we felt made them a viable candidate for our outreach in terms of trying to collaborate with Giving Children Hope volunteer-based programs. We also reached out to local high schools and created a database of local high school contact information within 5 miles of Giving Children Hope's headquarters. Our idea was to start a Giving Children Hope volunteer club, mainly because local high schools have a strong requirement or strongly suggest community service hours towards completing graduation. And also, given the age of the recipients of most of Giving Children Hope's benefits, we figured that local high school students would be able to closely identify themselves with those needy kids.
So our campaign timeline, as you can see right here, this should have been up here, but we began our initial research and built our research and initial proposal in the beginning of September. And also, we spent majority of our time towards November to December with our final, and then mid-months through reworking our initial proposal, building our press kit, creating our letter template, and also doing our outreach to other nonprofits as well.
Okay, we basically laid down the groundwork for establishing a social media campaign built off the already existing foundation. They already had a decent amount of followers, but we want to make sure that we maintain those followers on all their social media platforms, and as well as synchronize them so that every effort that they make to make a YouTube video of what they've done or a post, that it all goes together and it's seen throughout the internet. Despite the setbacks with third-party company communications, we wanted to establish a basic way for them to connect with the local community. The pitch letter, the newsletter, all those are ways to just give them the stepping stone into how to expand and keep in contact with the key publics. Yeah, we wanted to make sure that they were able to keep in touch with those third parties and their volunteers and all that.
All right, so some suggestions for the future that we outlined for Giving Children Hope was to continue to expand and improve on the social media pages that are already existing. We also suggested possibly consider moving into other social media platforms. Vine is a very popular social media outlet these days. If you're not familiar with it, it allows you to post a 7-second video online to share with the internet world. Giving Children Hope could use this to show a child's reaction to receiving aid or a volunteer's face when they see their impact on the child. Anything like that to show just another behind-the-scenes look at what Giving Children Hope does. We also, as Lisa just mentioned, we had some setbacks with our third-party collaborations, mainly due to their schedules. So we wanted to suggest, which is exactly why we built our press kits and our pitch letters, to continue to reach out to those guys because we feel like it would be very beneficial for them, as well as to continue to reach out to the local high schools in pursuit of starting the Giving Children Hope Volunteer Club. That's it. Any questions?